Welcome to the Let's Fix Construction podcast. Let's Fix Construction is an avenue to offer creative solutions, separate myths from facts, and erase misconceptions about the architecture, engineering, and construction industry.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's fix you and me. Every broken thing that we can see, all the pain and all the misery. Let's start tomorrow.
Let's join your Let's Fix Construction co-hosts, Eric Lussier and Cherise Lakeside.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Let's Fix Construction podcast. This is officially episode number 2. I'm Eric Lussier, and I'm joined by Cherise Lakeside, and we hope you had the opportunity to listen to episode 1, where we talked a little bit about our backgrounds, where I came from professionally, where Cherise came from professionally, but also how we founded Let's Fix Construction and how we moved off of the blog articles and the technical articles that our website, letsfixconstruction.com, is based around, and moved off of the screen and into the workshop space. We talked about the Let's Fix Construction live workshop, and also She's a Specifier, He's a Product Rep, a workshop that we've done a few times now, including most recently to the Atlanta chapter of the Construction Specifications Institute a few weeks ago. And right towards the end of episode 1, we moved towards one of our other available live workshops that you can access at lfcpodcast.com, and that's the Young Professionals Day. And Young Professionals Day is something that Cherise has put a lot of work into over the last couple of years at CSI's Constructs Conference, and going back to St. Louis and Austin and also Providence. And as Cherise likes to say, she kind of has this want to give back to the young professionals. She has a history getting into the AEC industry many years ago, and she wanted to give back. So, Cherise, I'm going to really let you run with this. Go with it as you want, to really why you want to give back to the young professional community.
Well, Eric, I mean, we've talked a lot about this, and I preach it whenever I get an opportunity to. But I don't think with our generational imbalance right now in the industry that I don't know that we've ever been doing enough, but I certainly don't think we're doing enough right now to help our young professionals come up to speed. And I also believe that a lot of our baby boomers are leaving and taking their knowledge with them, and they have a lot to share. And one of the reasons I feel so strongly about this whole effort in working with young people in our industry is because I started in this industry at 17. My first job was at a construction company at 17 because I didn't have to go to school all day when I was a senior. And so half the day I would go work in this construction company. And that ended up translating into my first job at an architecture firm as a receptionist. I'm not an architect. I didn't come through this business traditionally like other people who do the kind of work that I do. And the reason that I was able to get to where I'm at now and become a specifier and be involved like I am in the industry was because there were people along the way, people older than me, more experienced than me, smarter than me, who really took the time. They saw that I might have a little bit of a fire and wanted to learn and wanted to know how to do things better, and they took the time. There were a lot of people along the way in my career, still to this day in my career, that take the time to teach me and took the time to help me grow and kind of brought me along in this business as a person who's been trained in the trenches as opposed to trained in school. And could not have achieved anything I have in this industry had it not been for those people. And came up in this industry at 20 years old and female at a time that was more difficult for young women to progress in our industry and to grow in what is still very much a male-dominated industry. And it was mostly men that took the time and were willing to teach me and saw that I worked hard and I was smart, and they helped bring me up through the business. And I don't believe when you get things in this world that you don't give back. And I see a lot of young people around me that with just a little push or a little boost or a little knowledge here and there could really grow a lot faster and not have to struggle maybe in some of the ways that we did coming up. And they can learn a lot faster with the tools that they have. And I don't feel like I deserved getting all of those benefits along the years if I'm not willing to give them back. So that's kind of where my passion for working with young professionals has come from.
It's fantastic. And we were going back and forth about how you got involved with the Young Professionals Day at CSI's Construct Conference. And it started 3 years ago in St. Louis. And at the time, the education manager, Cindy Barron, actually approached you with the idea of designing curriculum that was focused on the 35 and younger community in the AEC industry and how they could best approach that, what the perhaps curriculum / education could be, and they asked you to get involved. What exactly did they bring to the table, and what is it they wanted you to do?
Well, that was, that would have been, I believe, 2015 when Cindy from Informa contacted me and said, hey, we have this idea. We want to do this Young Professionals Day. Here's an agenda. Here's kind of an outline of what we're thinking, but you're in the industry. We're event planners. You're in the industry. Would you mind taking a look and giving us some ideas? Cindy and I had become friends just with some of my other involvement with CSI and Construct. And she sent it over to me, and she also asked if maybe I would be interested in helping out or getting involved or maybe being the lead for Young Professionals Day, which I think maybe started out as maybe just a little bit of input from the industry side and being, a body in the room on the day of to kind of represent the industry. As we started planning it together, it kind of turned into my baby. With a whole lot of support from Informa, and I was thrilled. It was the first time I had seen anybody really doing anything very clearly targeted at young professionals. And again, I went into this expecting to have a chance to give back and to share my knowledge like people did with me before, and it turns out I think I got more out of it than I even came close to giving. The first one was not a lot of people. I think we had maybe 12 young professionals, the first YP day in St. Louis. But it was an amazing day. And we had speed mentoring, and we had some sessions on networking and how to set yourself apart. And we had a tour at Hager, saw how, they do all the hardware, and a lunch together, and it was just a really amazing day. And I'm still in touch with many of those young professionals. Some came back the next year, even though it's kind of meant to be a first-year Construct thing for YPs. A number now, actually, now that we just completed our third year, have come more than once. But one of the things I think that was most exciting to me as we're 3 years in doing this is that, for instance, Lauren, we call her the Kraken Jr., she's the president of her chapter, or incoming president.
She's current chapter president, and that's Lauren Anderson.
Okay, so I'm not a good detail person. I knew it was either incoming or president. But I've seen a lot of these young professionals, because Construct is largely CSI members. A lot of those young professionals went back to their chapters and got involved in a way that they weren't before. I know that my board of directors in Portland CSI is now fully half young professionals, because a lot of what I learned in the first YP day from these younger professionals and how much they gave me, I took back to our chapter and said, we need to make some changes. We need to do things differently if we want these young people to get involved with us. And we have a fairly active YP committee, a number of them in our chapter, more than most, which we're pretty proud of. But there's just a lot of benefits, and I think we could do better. I think we could go bigger. And so I think doing some of these YP events now with Let's Fix Construction gives us an opportunity to kind of take it out to other groups. And I did it one other time also for the West and Northwest Region Conference. Last year, we did a mini version of YP Day there, and they just contacted us to see if we would come do it at the next one in Alaska. I don't know if we're going to be able to make it to that one yet, but I just think it's a really valuable event that all of us could be doing more things to help our young professionals and to promote their development and connect with them so they have go-to people. And so that's kind of what it's turned into outside of the events all day long.
Right. And we keep talking that not only do we need to get more younger professionals involved in the industry, but we need to get them up to speed, not only as fast as possible, but faster than possible. And that's a real frustrating task that we really have at hand. There's no way for us to get them up to speed nearly as fast as they should. The retirement rate is going out of control right now, not only in active construction organizations, but also across the industry. And we have a real gaping younger professionals employment hole, if you will, to fill in that gap. So the Younger Professionals program has seen a lot of interest, really, and I've been fortunate to be involved over the last couple of years just helping either with the speed mentoring, which I think all the younger professionals agree is definitely one of the high points of the day, where it's basically a one-on-one, a couple of minutes aside, the mentor quizzing the mentoree and then switching sides, and then basically every few minutes you move on to the next one. So by the end of it all, you've spoken to 16 different mentors and 16 different mentorees, and that's been a real great piece to be involved in the Young Professionals Day. We also have a piece on networking that I led 2 years ago in Austin, and I went into it going, what the heck am I going to talk about for 15 minutes for networking, to basically blowing right through 15 minutes and then saying, did I actually say anything about networking? But that was a great time as well. But there's really a lot of different ways that we can get the younger professionals involved, and we always say the number one thing to do is ask. We're not doing that. We're not doing it nearly enough. Go out and engage a younger professional. And here we're talking younger. We're talking 35 and under. It's not like we're talking about a spring chicken at 35 nowadays, but that's viewed as a younger professional in the AEC industry. When we're talking about the younger side of that spectrum, someone who's just out of college, perhaps 22, 23 years old, go up and engage them. Ask them, what would get you to come up to a project meeting or a meeting in general and have you be involved? We're not basically making the ask. So it doesn't hurt to do so. Gauge from them what would get them out and involved, what would make them become perhaps an active member in your organization, what would get them to invite a friend. What are they looking for? Is it a lunch meeting? Is it a quick happy hour after work? We're really guilty, again, of not engaging the other side of the table and making that ask and saying, what's it going to take to have you get involved? You've been very fortunate in Portland to have some younger professionals involved, and your current president-elect is a younger professional, correct?
Yes. Allie Clark will be our next president of the chapter starting in June, and I believe she is still under 30 years old, and she's amazing. She is a rock star. She's going to be a great leader. She's got fresh ideas. She's one of the best I've seen at the work that she does. You have to reach out and you have to make programs, create programs that are viable in today's market. The old model, whether it's at a CSI chapter meeting or any industry association or any kind of event in our industry, the old model of the cocktail party or sit-down dinner just doesn't, with a talking head in front of the room, just doesn't cut it anymore. It needs to be more dynamic and more vibrant. And I think if there was one thing I learned from doing the speed mentoring sessions that I didn't expect to learn, one of the things we do in that session is there's multiple disciplines in the room. So when the young professionals are talking to people, it might be a contractor, and then it might be an architect or a specifier or an engineer or a product rep. It really got me thinking that the old model of mentorship doesn't work either, of having one single mentor that kind of guides you through your career. What you need, I think, these days, and that I lobby for with people I talk to, is you need an advocate. That you still have your one go-to person, but that advocate's job is to help you find the right people to teach you the piece you need to know right now, so that your mentorship is much more broad. So maybe I can teach you about specifications, but if you want to learn how to detail better, I'm not your girl. but I know this person in my connection, and I'm going to facilitate a meeting and introduce you so it's more comfortable and you can get a little guidance from them. And I think that's a much better model for mentorship than the kind of one-on-one relationship of old.
Absolutely. And we've talked a little bit about it in the past at some different workshops, and that this doesn't work with the younger generation just approaching the older generation. The older generation should be approaching the younger generation as well. And if they see someone that has that spark, as you mentioned earlier, some of them saw that desire, the little bit different yearning you had to learn, that they reached out to you. If you're an elder in your organization or at your firm and you see someone that has that spark, that has that desire to learn, take them aside, ask them if they want to go out and grab a cup of coffee. Perhaps just chat real quick and share your knowledge with them. Perhaps let them know that what you see is a little something different and you want to talk to them more about perhaps furthering their career. So it definitely works both ways. So that's a little bit about the Young Professionals Day, the Let's Fix Construction workshop that we're focusing on. If you have any interest in hosting that, just like that, another episode is done. Cherise, thank you very much for your time tonight, and we look forward to talking to everybody soon.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's fix you and me. Every broken thing that we can see, all the pain and all the misery. Let's start tomorrow. Let's build you and me a towering impossibility, a thing of art, a thing of beauty we can show. If it don't matter if it's new or old, and we don't have to wait until we're told. Let's fix it now before the iron's cold. We'll fix it once, we'll fix it thrice, as many times till it stays nice. A wondrous world this would be. Let's fix it, you and me. If all you see is what cannot be done, you'll surely miss out on the joyous fun. So come with me and we'll reject no one. I trust you know this ain't no joke. Let's pull together all the folk and we'll work on life's mystery. Let's fix it, you and me.